Welcome, everyone. Welcome to day two. Appreciate you all being here. Amazing that you've made it to day two. I hope that day one was super valuable for you. I hope it was. I hope day two will be even more valuable for you. If you're catching this live, if you could just put live in the comments, it really helps me out. If you're watching the replay, put hashtag replay. A couple of housekeeping things, same as yesterday. I will drop the workbook after this recording, so you can grab it and go through the replay as much as you want, so you can just keep revisiting the information. I really suggest that you do the workbook. It's how you can really make this stuff become real. Awesome. I will be monitoring the chat as best as I can. But if I miss your comments, I will get to them after the event. For those that are in VIP, if you're not in the VIP room, do not worry. You should find an email with the link. If you can't find that link, just drop me a message on Facebook and I'll drop it to you so you can join. Otherwise, I know there's many of you who just can't come live, so don't worry, the replay is there for life for you. So welcome to day two. Day two is gonna be awesome. And I don't mean that in an ego way, I mean that as it's really gonna have a profound effect on you. The objective for today is this. Now that we've found some old stories and we've dug those old stories out, we now need to install a completely new internal operating system. Part of that is moving from this idea of a competitive mind to a creative mind. And I would love you to walk away today feeling that you understand how to internalize this new operating system. Okay. So hopefully yesterday you survived the surgery. Some people find it very easy work to do. Some people find it hard work to do, can be quite emotionally draining. It depends if you've gone through this type of stuff before. So yeah, yesterday may not have been easy. You may be, especially writing the letter to your younger self, that can be hard. For those that did the homework, or fun work, should I say, how did you find writing the letter to your younger self? I hope it wasn't too emotional. It may have been very empowering. I would love to know. But just know, whatever you felt, it's supposed to happen. The idea is when you pull a deeply rooted weed out of the ground, well, what happens? The soil gets disturbed. It looks messy. It looks like destruction. But what we did yesterday was not destruction. It was mere preparation. You've cleared the ground. And today we are going to plant. So if you completed your overnight assignments regarding your wealth declaration, and you've been reading it out 3 times loud, you've written that letter to your younger self, and you've started doing your evening gratitude stuff, give yourself a huge pat on the back. Really want to acknowledge your commitment. It was okay. I've done something like that before, but it was definitely clearing. Good. Yeah, it's really powerful. So just recognize you did really good stuff. Really good stuff. So what you read last night, like I said, I hate the word homework. It wasn't homework. It was actually really an act of rebellion against decades of programming. As I explained, I think it was in the VIP, maybe in the free room, I can't remember, but literally the hypnotizing effect of your peers, family, friends, the repeated stories, the things you saw. So challenging that, rebelling against that really takes courage. If you didn't complete it, there is no shame, there's no guilt. What I would say is this: the gap between where you are and where you want to be is always the gap between knowing and doing. So I'm just going to ask you again to commit right now, doing them tonight, I know some of you have been unwell, so when you feel well, do it. Not because I'm like forcing you to do it. It's because the version of you that earns the money that you declared yesterday in the workbook needs you to do them, leads you to do them. So please let me now share what's going to happen today. So yesterday, day one was the awakening. We dug into the ground. Like I said, we found those old roots, the verbal programming, the modeling, the incidents, the hidden barriers, the resistance. We saw that thermostat, we named it, and we began the process of disassociation, separating who you are from who you were programmed to be. So day two is the recoding. Today is the most, I would say, intellectually sort of powerful day of all three. Again, apologies for the coughing. So today we are going to together install an entirely new operating system in your mind. So it'd be things like a new way of thinking about money, about wealth, about the very nature of how value is created and exchanged in the world. By the end of today, you will understand the exact mechanism by which wealth is created. This is not theory, this is not philosophy, this is real life. It's helped me make hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of thousands of dollars online. It's helped my clients and students do the same thing as well, which is super exciting. And you will understand why your old beliefs, the ones we dug out yesterday, were not just emotionally painful, they were factually wrong, and they were based on a lie about how the world works. So you could grab your day two worksheet, just grab it for me, and let's begin with the single most important mental shift for the entire event. This is a trap which so many entrepreneurs fall into. So you'll see here on page one, it says there is no competition, there is only creation. Let me say that again, there is no competition, there is only creation. So circle this, write it down, really instill in you what this means. This is the foundational principle upon which everything else on day two is built. If you get this, if you truly get this, it will change the way you run your business, you price your offers, you speak to prospects, and you show up on social media for the rest of your life. It really, really will. Do I need to open the worksheet? Yeah, if you have it there, hopefully if you have it already printed out, please print it out. If you don't, then yeah, open it on the screen and you can just follow it along. Ideally, you would be writing in the book when we go through, but if you don't have it to hand, you can just follow along with it on the screen and just use a bit of paper. I explained yesterday that when we write stuff down, it has a different meaning in our minds opposed to typing on a computer. If you're unable to do any of those things, just listen along, watch the replay, but ideally have the workbook, okay? If you don't have the workbook, even on the computer, let us know. I'm sure someone can share it in the Zoom chat as well. Someone could share this in the Zoom chat. That would really help me out. Thank you. So this will change the way you run your business, you price your offers, everything you do. You have it. Also, good to know. Hey, okay. So here's what most entrepreneurs believe, especially in my experience with working with hundreds of entrepreneurs and me personally as well, because I used to believe this. Most entrepreneurs believe that wealth is like a pie, a fixed, limited pie. And if someone takes a bigger slice, there is less pie left for them. So they will look at the person in their niche, depending where you are in the world, who's making, $1 million, and they think, they are taking my clients. They have saturated the market. There's no room for me. There's nothing left for me. Well, in the book, The Science of Getting Rich, which we touched on yesterday, written over 100 years ago, they really challenged this belief and really destroyed it. And in the book, and I'm paraphrasing here, but he said that you must get rid of the thought of competition entirely. Completely just get rid of it. You must create, not compete. Okay, so in other words, you must never look at someone else's supply and worry that it's taking away from yours. Because wealth is not drawn from a limited supply. Wealth is created from an unlimited source. So let me explain this in a way that makes it real for you and your online business. Let's say, for example, you are a business coach. And there are, you're a business coach. There are 10,000 other business coaches on Instagram, hanging out, showing their Lamborghinis, Ferraris, whatever it may be. And the competitive mind says, wow, the market is saturated. There are too many coaches. I need to find another way. And then you'll think, well, I need to be cheaper. I need to be faster. I need to be louder than them. In other words, I need to out hustle them. The creative mind says something completely different. The creative mind says, okay, there are 7 billion people on this planet, and 10,000 coaches on Instagram are serving a tiny fraction of those people. And when I really recognize that I have a unique combination of experience, unique wounds, unique wisdom, and voice, means that there are people out there, they're literally out there, who can only be touched by me, reached by me, not by those other 10,000, just by me. And my job is not to compete for existing clients. My job is to create something so equally, uniquely, incredibly valuable that the right clients are drawn to me like a magnet. Just letting Lucy in the room. Welcome, Lucy. Welcome, Kath. Good to see everyone. And that's our job, to be uniquely valuable. Now, do you feel the difference? The competitive mind operates from a place of scarcity. That is fear. We are feeling anxious. We're constantly looking over our shoulder, looking what everyone else is doing. It's very exhausting. But the creative mind operates from a place of abundance. And when we're in abundance, it's calm. We can be generous and forward focusing. It's a completely different experience. Now, let me show you how this plays out in a very kind of practical scenario, in a high ticket sales call. So when you're on a sales call and you're operating from the competitive mind, here's what happens internally. So the person you're on the call with says, no, I've been looking at a few other coaches. And immediately you, as the coach on the call, your stomach drops, you get sweaty, and you think, I'm about to lose the sale. I need to be cheaper than the others. I need to offer more bonuses. I need to convince them that I am better than those other people. So you start discounting, you start over explaining, you start justifying your price, you become more desperate. And desperation really repels, because the other person can feel that. Desperation literally repels money away, because the prospect can feel it. When we flip it around, it's completely different. When you're on a sales call and you're operating from the competitive mind, the same prospect says exactly the same. There's no difference. I'm looking at a few other coaches. And you think, great. I wish them well. I hope they find the right fit. If it's me, wonderful. If it's not, that is also wonderful, because the right clients are always coming. So you don't discount, you don't over explain, You hold your price with calm authority. You ask great questions. You listen deeply, and the prospects fills your groundness. They fill your certainty. And certainty attracts money the way gravity attracts an object. It's not forced, it's a law. So if you could write this down for a minute, it's such an important lesson in sales and business, in wealth. Desperation repels wealth, but certainty attracts it. You cannot fake certainty. You can only build it by knowing at the deepest level that you are creating value and not competing for the scraps. So in the book, Science of Getting Rich teaches that operating from the competitive mind requires what he calls acting in a certain way. So this is not vague, it's very precise. And what does acting in a certain way mean? It means three things. Number one, you must hold a clear, definite mental image of what you want. Okay, so you must hold this very clear, definite mental image of what you want. So this connects directly to the wealth declaration we did yesterday. That declaration is not just a piece of paper, it's literally a mental image. Napoleon Hill calls it the definite chief aim. Okay, you have to be as passionate about that as you are looking for oxygen. Breathing must be that important, because without it, your subconscious has no destination. And a mind without a destination will wander, look for shiny objects, get distracted, start self-sabotaging. Think of it this way. When you open, say, Google Maps and you type in an address, the algorithm instantly calculates the fastest route. But if you do not type in anything, if you just open the app and you stare at it, nothing happens. Your subconscious mind works the same way. So your wealth declaration is the address. It's like your GPS. And when you read it every morning, you're basically re-entering the destination in your own internal GPS. Does that make sense, guys? Does that make sense? If you can let me know in the chat, just put makes sense, especially the guys that were here yesterday. I hope it's building on what we did yesterday. Makes sense. Awesome, awesome, awesome. Good to see the guys who made the call today, weren't there yesterday. It's good to see you. Number two, you must do everything you do in a way that gives more value than you receive in payment. This principle is so important because what it does, it eliminates all guilt about making money. It eliminates all guilt about making money. Every person who pays you should receive more in value than what they paid. Not because you're going to over-deliver to the point of burnout. That's a trap. Burnout is a way of self-sabotage. We can talk about that. But it's because the transformation you provide is worth more than the dollar amount. So if a client pays you $5,000 and you help them build a business that generates, $5,000 a month for the next 5 years, you gave them, huge value. There's no guilt in that equation at all. There's only generosity. The other thing to understand as well is that, I learned this from Grant Cardone. Grant Cardone says 80% of his time is building goodwill, not selling, putting out good energy in the market, and he only does 20% of his activities he actually gets paid for, but 80% of the time he's doing free stuff. Why is this important? Well, when you understand this, you will never feel weird about selling again. You will never feel sleazy or pushy because you will know that mathematically you are offering someone a massive return on their investment. You're not selling to them in a way that's a selfish act. Okay? And if you don't sell to them, it's actually selfish because you are withholding the transformation they need. The third thing, you must be grateful. And we started the gratitude practice last night. It's not a nice to have. Okay, gratitude is the mechanism that keeps you connected to this unknown creative source. In other words, complaint and criticism disconnects you. People can sense it. Gratitude reconnects you. Think of like a Wi-Fi connection. When you're grateful, you have full signal. When you're complaining, you're in what's it called? Airplane mode. Okay. So in our worksheet, you'll see here on page 2, there's this creative mind audit. And I would love for you to be super honest, super honest. We're going to do this audit. So in the past 30 days, have you been operating primarily from a competitive mind or a creative mind? And write down 3 examples. Be precise. So for example, I lowered my price on sales calls because I was afraid they would choose someone else. Okay, that is competitive mind. Or I spent 2 hours stalking a competitor on Instagram. I have been guilty of that in the early days. Instead of creating my own content, competitive mind again. So spend some time doing that, competitive mind behavior. And then for each example you've written down, write the creative mind alternative. What would the creative mind version of you would have done? Okay, so take a couple of minutes to do that. Hopefully that makes sense, guys. If you put make sense in the chat and spend some time working through this list. Makes sense? Awesome. Yeah, so you'll see the worksheet here. Spend some time filling out. This exercise is a real eye-opener. Real eye-opener. We waste, whilst you're filling out, I will share you a true story. When I first started coaching in 2018, I used to spend hours, and I would subconsciously think, oh, I'm researching what other people are doing, their offers. It wasn't. It was looking at them, how can they do this? And it wasn't really me learning. I was just being competitive. And all you just waste so much time and energy and effort being sucked into that world, where if you just spent your own time creating content, that's way more valuable. Yeah, creative mind. If there's any questions, drop them in the chat. And when you are there, please let me know and just say done, and then we can move on to the next thing. I'll give you 4 minutes to work on that. For folks that have just joined as well, just let you know, next Friday, there's another an event. It's a one-day one, and it's about dealing with the fear of rejection in sales. It's happening again at 5 o'clock UK time. Folks that are on the call who are students of mine, clients of mine, whether you're one-on-one or in a group, including people watching the replay, I'm going to put together something very special for you. Not next week, the week after, on what really is this thing called manifesting. But we'll talk about that on your course. So yeah, as you're working through, let me know. Let me just check YouTube, see if there's any questions there. Have a look. Sorry, YouTube folks, I've been neglecting you. I apologize. Let me have a look. Cool. Let's check this one and this one. Hey guys, sorry, I have not seen the chat. Yeah, the workbook. Let me put the opt-in page in the comments now for you. So you'll see ideally you want to have printed it out. Make sure you're on my email list so you will get this in the future. But I'll drop you a link now in the comments. I'm talking to the guys on this is Matt Joke Live Events, YouTube. There you go. You can grab the workbook. Ideally, I said you would have had it printed out. If you don't, just open it on the screen and you can go from there. Cool. There we go. It's there for you now, guys. Yeah, next Friday, 5 o'clock, all to do with fear of rejection. Yeah, and I'll share the details tomorrow for that one. It will be a good one. I've been coaching sales way before I even became a coach online. In my previous job, I was a VP pharmaceutical company. So I had to train all the sales guys in there on sales. So I've been dealing with that for years. And fear of rejection is a big one. Cool. Is self-doubt a competitive mind behavior? Good question. So it can be. It depends on the meaning, the label. So self-doubt is generally there's a story. So whenever we feel like a pain or a frustration, there's a story, and that's because we've attached a meaning to it. And then when that story comes out, the meaning kind of opens up an old wound, and that's when it becomes painful. So yes, it is basically, but it's a story. But yeah, it's a competitive mind thing. But it's self-doubt is easy to solve, but can take time. But the process is easy to solve. There's some people. It depends on what the stories are. But yeah, it's a competitive mind, definitely. Okay, guys, how are you all getting on? Are we close? Are we done? Are we miles away? Let me just put this in here for the guys on the call. Done. Thank you for the update. We have one person done. Okay, done. We have two people that's done. Amazing. When we get three people, we will make it start. I have to watch the replay. Follow on having a problem with printing. No worries. No worries. Yeah, no worries. Just listen along. Don't worry. We're so happy you're here. Definitely. Yeah, while we're waiting for one more person, let me go back to that question again. We can go into it a bit more. So, like I said, yes, self-doubt is normally a competitive mind issue. Why is that? Because competitive mind lives in fear, scarcity. Like the example I gave about comparing with other people, it keeps us looking sideways. We're always thinking, am I good enough? Am I behind? All these type of things. So self-doubt kind of fits into the old pattern very well. Yeah, Napoleon Hill spoke about this a lot. We'll talk about it a bit more in VIP later. But yeah, I would say it's competitive mind. And even the better answer would be because it's putting us out of creation and back into fear. So I would say Yeah, it usually is. Cool. Okay, guys, we will move into if reading, learning, and courses is a competitive thing, thinking I have to know more. What's the creative alternative? Yeah, so believe or not. Okay, so we have to be pragmatic. Often we do need, I'm not suggesting we just go out there and we don't know anything and we kind of break stuff and hurt people, including ourselves. Not saying that, but the alternative is doing. And we generally learn more from doing. The best analogy I can give you is we can learn all we want, but until we actually go out into the market, we test stuff in motion, it's just theory, and theory doesn't, you can't take philosophy to the bank and get paid, basically. So the alternative is going out and having courage and creating stuff and testing, whatever that may be, a DM, sales call, live event, an offer. When we're out taking action, we're actually growing and we're learning. Okay, we're really learning from the real world. So, reading, learning, you should always do, but accompanied with taking action. And most people are scared to take action because they attach a meaning to the action. So if it doesn't work, it's catastrophic. The world's ended. It didn't work. Nothing's going to work, and they kind of retreat back. The thermostat will kick in, and they will pull you back. What I like to think of it is this: whenever, say, we have a goal to get to, say, 10,000 a month, and we try something and it doesn't work. Now, it doesn't mean that we're not a $10,000 a month coach or a $20,000 a month coach or entrepreneur, whatever it means. It just means that thing didn't work out. But here's the big sort of aha moment. Just because it didn't work out doesn't mean it's not really viable. We learn something. And the idea is to get to $10,000 a month, you have to pitch like a big jigsaw. And the jigsaw may have 50 pieces, it may have 100 pieces, may have 10 pieces, may have 4. But the point is, instead of seeing it as failure, it's a learning. It's a piece of, this is a piece of the puzzle. Cool. This is my lesson. So when we start putting all the pieces of the jigsaw together, eventually we get a picture of the vision that we are after. And we can only learn the pieces of the jigsaw from actually being brave and taking massive action. I hope that makes sense. Let me know if that makes sense. But yeah, you problem is when we get into, I called it the prison of strategy. And it's very, very clever, especially for people with high intelligence, high IQ. It's in school, we've been rewarded for what? Learning. And it's like we have this test, and the better we do in the test, we get the reward of a certificate. So when we live with this, our story is, well, when I learn, I am growing, and this is a great thing. I will get rewarded. It doesn't translate into the business world because the reward is completely different. People who take action get rewarded. People who take risk get rewarded, not the people with the most knowledge. Okay, they really don't. So yeah, you just have to take bold action. This is what pays. I hope that's a reasonable, okay-ish answer. Hope I didn't hash that around too much. But yeah, so always think of a jigsaw. Good. Okay, guys. So thank you for the question. Love it. So hopefully you've done your sheet now. Look at your answers. That creative mind column is not fantasy, meaning it's not a better version of you that you will suddenly become. It is who you already are underneath the programming. So that excavation, the digging we did yesterday and cleared it away, today we're going to give this version of you a voice, okay? So like I said, we have to want it like you want air. which is how I kind of think of the burning desire from Napoleon Hill. And there's a difference between wanting something and deciding you will have it. Okay, one is a wish and the other is a force of nature. Okay, Napoleon Hill. Let's deconstruct this. Okay, let's deconstruct what Hill was explaining. So Napoleon Hill spent, I think it was 20 years, studying over 500 of the most successful people of his time. This was entrepreneurs, leaders, people who invented stuff, big like industrial leaders. And he found that the starting point for every single fortune that he spoke to, without exception, it was not a plan, it was not a strategy, it was not the capital, it was this thing called desire. But not any ordinary desire, not the kind of desire that says, oh, it'd be nice to make more money. It would be really cool to have more money. I wish I could have more money. Hill described a very precise way, and you have to say the quantity of the desire and be very precise. And he called it a burning desire. So a desire so intense, all-consuming, that it basically occupies your mind the way oxygen would, occupy your lungs. So you do not casually think about breathing, you breathe. It's not negotiable. And your wealth goal must become that non-negotiable. So here's why it matters to you as a consultant, coach, course creator, online entrepreneur. Most online entrepreneurs treat their income goal like a New Year's resolution. Yeah, they set it in January. They're very enthusiastic. They post about it on Instagram. And, if you're lucky by March, normally by January the 5th, but if you're lucky by March, it's quietly disappeared and replaced by the daily grind of content creation. And if you've got some client delivery, putting out fires. So that is not a burning desire. It's only a preference, and preferences do not create wealth. Only decisions create wealth. So let me give you the difference between a preference and a decision. A preference says, I would like to make $20,000 this month. Okay, so I would like to make $20,000 this month. A decision says, I am making $20,000 this month, and I will do whatever is legal, moral, and ethical and aligned to make it happen. So if the first approach doesn't work, I'll try the second. If the second doesn't work, I'll try a third. And I will not stop until it's done, period. The thinking is this: a preference has a back door. It has like an escape hatch. It has qualifiers. If the niche is okay, if the market's okay, if people respond to my launch, if the algorithm cooperates. A decision has no back door. There is no plan B. Because plan B is what you do when you've already decided that a plan A does not work. And that is hedging. And it's the exact thing that kills the plan A. So please write this down. This is so important. The moment you create a plan B, the moment you have a plan B, a backup plan, you are draining energy from plan A. Okay, so Napoleon Hill and Think and Grow Rich, where's my copy? I had it here yesterday. I must have put it somewhere. The moment you create plan B, you're taking away your energy from plan A. Napoleon Hill explained that this is all about burning the boats. In other words, there's no retreat. So Hill gave a very precise formula about converting desire into its financial equivalent. And it's a 6-step process. I believe it's on page 20-something, depending on what version you have, Think and Grow Rich. But it's a 6-step process. I've adapted it for you for your online business. Okay, and you will see it in your workbook on page 3. So if you turn to the page of the worksheet entitled "The Burning Desire Protocol," you'll see it there. And let me talk you through what we have here. This is so important. Step 1 is we fix in your mind the exact amount of money you desire. So not more money, not more, not 6 figures, the exact number. Okay, so you stated this yesterday in your wealth declaration. Today we're going to refine it if you need to. Okay, step 2 is determine exactly what you intend to give in return for the money you desire. So in the universe of wealth, there's no such thing as something for nothing, despite what some people may tell you. So for you as a coach, consultant, course creator, whatever it is, this is your offer. This is your offer. So this is your coaching, consulting, your course, or the transformation that you deliver. What are you giving? Step 3, you'll see, is establish a definitive date by which you intend to possess the money you desire. Why is this so important? A goal without a deadline is a dream. So put a firm date on it. And step 4 is you create a definite plan for carrying out your desire. And this is the important bit. You take action on it immediately. You begin at once, whether you are ready or not. Okay? People really sabotage themselves thinking they have to be ready. Okay? You become ready by doing. You really do. Okay? This is the part that kills most entrepreneurs. They want to wait until everything is perfect. The perfect logo, website, funnel, headshot. Okay? My experience, speed is everything. There's a real law out there. Success loves speed. Money loves speed. It's so true. Everything, when you just take action, really happens. You know, when I first met Prima on Facebook, okay, love speed. I was on a plane to Uganda within a couple of weeks. Okay, money loves speed. When I had an idea of having a 6-figure event, I had it on a Saturday, we did it, and by the following week, we collected over 100,000 US dollars. Why? Because speed, go. You learn from doing, not from procrastinating. So in a lot of success books, this is what they talk about. It's talking about turning professional. So the amateur waits for permission. The amateur will always wait for confidence, but the professional shows up and does the work before the feeling even has a chance to arrive, before the feeling of confidence has arrived. Why? Because confidence is something very important. It's a bit of a secret, which some of you will know. Confidence does not precede action. Confidence is the byproduct of action. Confidence is the byproduct of action. You will not feel ready until after you have done the thing you do not feel ready for. So just sit with that for a moment, because often it's the opposite of what you've been told most of your life. We've always been told, feel confident, then act. But the truth is, it really is, act and then feel confident. The doing creates the feeling, not the other way around. Okay, step 5 is write out a clear, concise statement of the amount of money you intend to acquire, and what you intend to give it in return, and your plan for accumulating it. So you want to write it out into this statement, okay? Why do you want it in this statement? Because in step 6, you'll see on the following page here, you're going to read out that statement aloud twice daily, once in the morning, once before bed. And as you read, it's very important that you put emotion into it, see and feel and believe that you're already in possession of the money. Okay? Does that last part sound familiar? Hopefully, should. That's your wealth declaration from yesterday. It's the foundation for this statement. But today, I want you to add something to it. I want you to add the plan. So, what exact things will you do? So, for example, how many pieces of content will you create next week? How many outreach messages will you send? How many discovery calls will you have? How many offers you're going to make? You know, be very precise. Be very, very precise. I would suggest you do this after this call because this can take a while to do, but please, please do it. Please do it. Now, I need to tell you something about this process that he'll emphasize that most people miss. When you first read this statement, you will not believe it. Okay, now Hill did not talk about this, but he did say you won't believe it. Because we know a bit more now, we know this thing called the thermostat. And your thermostat, the one we exposed yesterday, will push back very hard. And your brain will say, this is delusional. You've never made that type of money doing this. It's not going to work. That is expected. And in fact, Hill says that process will not work unless you push through the disbelief. And Hill, in Think and Grow Rich, calls this faith. And it does not mean blind, like religious faith. It means a trained state of mind that's cultivated through repetition, through repetition. So you read the statement even when you do not believe it. You read it again, you read it again, and slowly, the way water wears down a rock, the repetition starts to reshape your subconscious mind. So this is not what we mean by manifesting. You're actually just reconditioning. It's the same principle used in sports psychology, clinical therapy, in military training. You rehearse the outcome until your subconscious mind accepts it as, yeah, it's real and it's going to happen 100%. Because when your subconscious mind accepts something, okay, as, oh, this is happening, it's happened, it begins to do something very powerful. It organizes your behavior, it organizes your attention, it organizes your energy around making the thing become real. Okay? Making the thing become real. Okay, guys, I hope this is making sense. Let's take 5 minutes so people can grab a drink, nip to the bathroom if you need to. Let's take 5 minutes and we'll come back. Before we take our break, is this useful, guys? Let me know in the chat if this is useful. Hope it's getting you to think about some stuff. I'm sure nearly everyone here has read Think and Grow Rich. The question is, are you doing Think and Grow Rich? It's two things. There's reading it, and then there's studying it, which is a different level, and doing it. Thank you, guys. Appreciate you. Thank you, Lucy. Thank you, Cav. Cav's giving me a thumbs up, which means anything. Just Cav hates me. She's the president of Kenya, as always, today. No, bless Cav. She's an angel. Okay, let's take 5 minutes, and we will come back. Appreciate you all, guys. You're all superhumans. See you in a sec. Welcome back, guys. If you put in the chat, if you can hear me, that will be greatly appreciated. All good. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Before we start, we need to celebrate something. If you can hear me, Kath, your second name is not there, is it? So don't worry. Let's all celebrate Kath for a minute. Kath, how much of your body weight have you lost so far? Kath is on a mission. She's inspired me to go on a health kick. So for me, I'm gonna big myself up. So it's been 81 days now with no sugar for me at all. I have a very sweet tooth, and I love sugar, Coca-Cola mostly. Terrible, but I've not had any. Thank you, I appreciate it. Yeah, 81 days, which is good. So I've gone from 120 in weight, 120, over 15 kg. Kath, come on. Amazing. Everyone give Kath a round of applause. Amazing. Kath, incredible. I've gone from 125, so a big, still like this, but I've got down to 89, which is good. I'm getting there, people. But Kath is just, she's an inspiration. Well done, Kath. Yeah, so we'll celebrate Kath. Okay, guys. Welcome back. Appreciate you all being here. To check you on YouTube. Hope you guys are all well. Cool. Okay, so we've like I said, do this evening, work your way through it. I always tell everyone, please read the book Think and Grow Rich and then study it. It will change your life. If you get the ideas, the concepts in there, it will change your life. There was a study done in the US, and they asked self-made millionaires, not people that inherited it or were given. And they were asked, what books were most influential in your journey? Everyone put Think and Grow Rich as number one. And when I say everyone, I don't mean everyone, of course. There's going to be some weird person. The vast majority, I should say, said Think and Grow Rich was the book that changed everything for them. So it's people that were self-made millionaires, not given it. So Success Leaves Clues. Please read it, study it, implement it. It will change your life. Has for me, it really helps you to reframe things like failure, helps you to reframe when you should quit, when you should not quit. So many important lessons. So there's nothing you take away from the 3 days. Please take that away. I promise it will have a profound effect. Okay, so we've been building towards something, and I want you to kind of feel the thread where we're going. So yesterday we dug up the old programming, and then we looked at this idea today of the creative mind. Okay, and this, when you do this, this will give you this burning desire. But we need to address the single greatest threat to all of it, which is your daily behavior. It's like I said, one thing I study a lot is the difference between the knowing and the doing gap. Knowing what to do, but actually doing it. And the gap, there's many things that can cause resistance, but generally the biggest thing we always have to kind of work on with my clients is the behavior bit. So the biggest threat really is your daily behavior. So the brutal, honest truth is this: you can have the clearest vision in the world, you can have the most beautifully defined burning desire statement ever written, you can start to recalibrate this thermostat, but if you don't show up and do the work, if you don't do it consistently, if you're not relentless about doing the work, regardless of how you feel, none of it will matter. None of it will matter. People call this the line in the sand moment, the line in the sand. And if you picture a line in the sand, one side of the line in the sand, you have the amateur, and then on the other side, we have the professional. So the amateur has this relationship with their business that's very conditional, meaning they kind of show up when they feel inspired. They create content when the mood feels right. And they do outreach when they feel really confident. And they will pitch their offers only when it makes sense and the prospect's already so hot and warm. So why is this bad? Well, amateur businesses are a hostage to emotions. Everything I said, emotions are running the game now, the whole time. And if you leave emotions in charge of a business, you're setting yourself up for massive failure. The professional has a relationship with their business that is unconditional. That is unconditional. They show up whether they feel inspired or not. They show up whether they feel confident or not. They create content on a schedule, the same way a surgeon operates on a schedule. The surgeon doesn't walk into the operating theatre and say, oh, I'm just not feeling it today. I'll wait until I'm in the zone. We wouldn't really trust a doctor like that, okay? That would be insane. But yeah, that's how the vast majority of entrepreneurs run their business, okay? So turning professional is not about talent, okay? It's about showing up every day and doing the work on a schedule, regardless of how you feel, regardless of the emotions. So your business is not a hobby, so stop treating it like one. Your coach is probably going to laugh in a minute. There was a training I did with one of my mentors who was, he always says this: if you treat a business as a hobby, it will pay you like a hobby. It's one of his most favorite things he says again and again and again. And it's true, it's true. So let's make this really practical. So if you're a coach consultant, there are 3 activities that will directly produce revenue in your business. The good news, just 3, especially when you're just starting out. If you're under 10K consistently a month, everything else is really noise. I've helped so many people go from 0 to their first sale, to their first 10K, to consistent 10K. There's just 3, nothing more than that. And the biggest activities just to focus on. It will get you moving more than anything else. So let's go through them. Revenue activity number 1 is visible content creation. Visibility, especially where we are in today's age of social media. What this means is posting on social media, sending emails, going live on video, whatever your content plan is, but content makes you visible to the people who need your offer. I do not mean designing a Canva graphic for 2 hours. I do not mean that, okay? This is sitting down and writing something that's really true, valuable, and then actually just publishing it, which is often the hardest bit. And the professional does this on a schedule every day, whether they want to or not. The point is that it is non-negotiable. You do not negotiate with gravity, okay? So don't negotiate with what you agree your content should be, okay? Some people, 7 days a week is stressful, so you can do Monday to Friday. But just know the biggest pain you have in your business, I promise you, is people do not know who you are. They just don't know who you are. So the most important thing you need to do is fix that problem. Help people to find you. Okay, so as Grant Cardone teaches, obscurity is the thing that kills most businesses. If they don't know you, they can't flow you, as Grant says. Yeah, so it's very, very important. Okay, revenue activity number 2 is direct outreach. So the money, the clients, everything you want is found in conversations. So activity number 2 is direct outreach, and this means starting conversations, not waiting for people to talk to you. It means starting conversations. It means sending direct messages on Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn, wherever you may be, and engaging on people's content, responding to comments, and turning those into conversations, reaching out to people who have interacted with your content, asking if they need help, all of those things. Sorry, Nicole is back. Just let her back in the room. So this activity is where resistance really shows up most for most folks. Outreach is personal, it's direct. There's a massive risk of rejection, huge risk of rejection. And your old programming, the one that says, do not bother people, do not bother people. Do have to jump off. I'll be back tomorrow. No worries. Good to have you here, my friend. We will see you tomorrow. So yeah, your old programming, don't want to be pushy. Who do you think you are? Will fire up every single time you open that DM window. Every single time you open it. Oh, my phone died. I know. I'm sorry. It's good to have you. It's good to have you back. Good to have you back. If people need to hop off or the internet dies, whatever it is, there's replays for you. So everyone in VIP, you get a replay. So don't stress too much. So every time we try and do outreach, a wound, our old previous self will show up and talk us out of it. The professional does it anyway. Okay. And it's uncomfortable, but it's necessary. It's necessary. And again, on Friday next week, we will have a training just on the fear of rejection in selling, 5 o'clock UK time. Hopefully you guys can make it. It'd be great to see you there. Revenue activity number 3 is sales conversations. This means getting on calls, Zoom calls, phone calls, could be in-person meetings if you do offline. And it means having meetings with qualified people and then making an offer. Not exploring, not having a chat, actually making an offer. In other words, telling the person what you do, what it costs, and inviting them to say yes. This is where most entrepreneurs online completely break down. They would do everything to avoid the actual ask. So they will give free coaching on a call. They will follow up later instead of closing on the call, or they will never follow up at all ever. It's like the saying says, the money is in the follow-up. All your clients are in the follow-up. Most, 3% of people on a call will say yes the first time. It's very, very small. And that's not me saying that. That was a real statistic from Grant Cardone's sales team. Only 3% of sales happen for them on the first call with a client. So we have to think, why are you hesitating on that? Because the professional asks for the money clearly, calmly, without apology, because the professional knows from a creative mind the principle we covered later, that their offer delivers more value than the price. So asking for the money is what you've all heard. It's an act of service. I'm sure you've heard that before. It's not an act of being selfish. It's a real act of service. So you'll see in your worksheet entitled My Pro Schedule. So this is on page 6, I think. I don't have my glasses, so I can't read. It's terrible. I need glasses to read, but I don't have it. But I think it's what it says on page 6. The first 90 minutes of your workday are super sacred. During those 90 minutes, you do all the revenue activities only. Content outreach, sales, nothing else. No admin, no logo design, nothing, okay? Just revenue producing activities, nothing else. This is what professionals do. This is called sitting down and doing the work. If you do this, if you show up every day for 90 minutes and do this uncomfortable work, treat it as sacred. You're going to do it. Like it's non-negotiable. Okay, resistance will start losing its grip. It will just be easier and easier. Remember we were talking about the survival brain? You are retraining this through action. You're saying, yes, it's safe. Yes, it's safe. Yes, it's safe. Oh, this is okay. No one died. I didn't die. I didn't get eaten by a lion. It's okay. Because you're going to build a track record of overcoming it. And that new track record, every time you do it, becomes your new identity. So after a certain number of days of showing up, you will no longer be an amateur. You'll be someone who does this because you're a professional, period. And professionals make money. So I want you to fill in this schedule, okay, and write down what time will your work day start. Okay, so you see at the top here, what time does my work day start? So what revenue activity will you do each day? So let's start off with my work day starts at what time for you? And feel free to share it in the chat as well. I would love to know what time you guys start work. And it doesn't have to be the second you wake up, of course. Me and my wife, we go for a lovely walk in the morning first. Yakota, she's an early starter, 6 a.m. What else? What other times do we have? But on Yakota, and saying it out loud, you're literally making it real. And it sounds crazy, but I bet Lucy gets up early as well. I bet Lucy's an early starter. No one's sharing their times. No worries. We can be shy. But Yakota's brave. She takes courage. Look at that. Okay, so whack in the time. And then what we're going to do, we're going to now focus on the 3 revenue activities. 6:15. Nice. 6:15 is a good time. The 3 revenue activities. Okay. What revenue activity will you do first each morning? You know, what is your minimum daily commitment? So for example, I will send, 5 outreach messages and publish 1 piece of content before I do anything else. But be very precise, be realistic, because it's non-negotiable, and write it down in here, okay? So you see we've split it up to visible content creation, direct outreach, and sales conversations. And these are little commitments to you. Fill this out, take a couple of minutes, fill it out, but just be precise, but be realistic, because this is non-negotiable, okay? Take some time to fill this out. You'll see why this is so important when we get to the next page. I'll take some time filling that out now. Let me know when you have done that. Yeah, let me know when you're done. Cool. Okay, guys, and just checking in with everyone now on a scale of 1 to 10. How helpful was this? 10 being super helpful, 1 not helpful at all. Done and done. Well done, troopers. You've done. 2 of you have done the work. Yeah, so 10 being helpful. Thank you, my friend. 10. Yeah, let me know. Feedback is so useful for me on, I plan this year on doing loads more live events. I need to know what people find valuable, what's not helpful, what is helpful. Thanks, Kath. 10. Lucy, thank you. 10. Yakoda, 10. Cool. Yeah, it's really important because feedback really helps me to help other people, including you. Cool. Okay, so we'll move on to the next bit quickly. You'll see, again, I don't have my glasses. It's so small. I don't know why the pages are so small. Page 7. Page 7, it's called My Compounding Commitments. So one thing you learn from reading finance books, success books, is the greatest wealth building force in history. It's not strategy, it's not talent, it's not luck, it's compounding. Okay, so the greatest wealth building force, if there is such a thing, which there is in history, it's not down to luck, it's not down to a strategy, a tactic, a talent, it's this idea of compounding. So what people misunderstand is what really compounding is. And when you understand it, it will fundamentally change the way you think about time, what it means to have patience, and what growth really means. So there's this chap called Morgan, and he spent his entire life studying the psychology of financial behavior. So behavior with money. And it tells us, like I said, the most important underestimated force in all of wealth creation is this idea of compounding. So when most people hear the word compounding, they think that it only applies to money in savings, in a savings account, and the interest on top of interest. But that is just one application. Compounding applies to everything. So your skills compound, your relationships compounds, your content compounds, your reputation compounds. Even more importantly, your identity compounds. Let me explain with an example that will change the way you think about your content. So imagine you're posting on Instagram. I've just started my Instagram account. Let's say day one, you have a couple of hundred followers, and you post something great, and 3 new people follow you. And day 2, you post again, and 4 new people follow you. Day 3, 5, Now, this doesn't feel particularly impressive. No, 2 people, 3 people, it does not feel impressive at all. But after a month, after 2 months, maybe a couple of hundred followers. But your brain will say, this is not working. I'm posting now for a month. I've not grown, or I've barely grown. And this is where your brain does not understand. Compounding is not linear, it's exponential. And the nature of exponential growth is that it is invisible at the beginning and it's overwhelming at the end. Okay, does that make sense? So imagine you take a single penny and you double it every day for 30 days. So day 1, it's 1 cent. Day 2, it's 2 cents. Day 10, what would it be? I don't know. More. But the point is, it's over. The time you get to day 30, it's literally, you're going to have millions of coins. Okay, millions of coins. And almost all of the result of those millions happened in the last few days. When you look at a graph of how it does, it happens. Because the first 20 days, when you look at compounding, almost nothing is visible. Okay, but those days where nothing's really happening is not wasted at all. That's where the foundation happens before the explosion took place. And this is what actually really happens in an online business. The first 3 months of consistent content outreach, sales feels like nothing is happening. Can be 6 months, can be a year, can be 2 years. It feels literally like you're pushing a boulder up a hill. You know, you're talking to people, no one's buying, or you're trying to talk to people, no one's talking to you. You're posting every day, no one's engaging. And your old programming is screaming at you at this point. See, I told you this would not work. You're not cut out for this. Who do you think you are? That voice is wrong, dead wrong. It's trying to get you to quit at the bottom of the compounding curve, right before the curve starts to bend upwards. So same story in Think and Grow Rich. Most people quit just 3 feet from gold, so close to success. And in the story of 3 feet from gold, when they were digging for the gold, if they just dug the 3 feet, they would have found millions. It's the same as online. It's the compound. It all comes at the end. Write this down. Get a tattoo if you need to. I'm not a tattoo fan. But most people will always quit before the compounding curve starts to bend. It's also called hockey stick growth. The rewards of consistently being consistent are always back-end loaded. So the first 90 days are the investment, or 6 months or year is the investment. But then the next 90 days are the harvest. So it's so important. There's loads of myths about this. And Hounslow, the guy who talks about compounding, he says that getting wealthy and staying wealthy are 2 completely different skills. 2 completely skills. One requires risk-taking, bold action. Staying requires understanding of what you earned. It was not luck. It was not luck, it was not timing. So for us as an entrepreneur, what does this really mean? It means closing your first $10,000 month requires you to be bold. It requires you to pitch your offer. It requires you to raise your prices. It requires you going live on camera. But then turning that $10,000 into a consistent month-to-month basis requires something completely different. Systems, habits, and patience. And this is where most entrepreneurs fall apart. They have one great month, take the foot off the gas, and they celebrate way too soon. They coast, and the compounding drops. So they have to start again. This is where people have this roller coaster of success. Compounding only works if you don't interrupt it. The moment you stop being consistent, the curve will flatten. Professionals understand this. So they celebrate wins when they come up, of course, so important, but they will do the same thing again the next day, which is the revenue producing activities and trusting the process. Amateurs celebrate a win, take a week off, go on holiday, rent a bigger place, whatever it may be, and then they wonder why next month was nowhere near as good. So patience is so important, and you have to understand that there is this thing called hockey stick growth. Big mistake. Most people, when they start making money, they immediately upgrade their lifestyle. They buy a car, they rent a nicer apartment, upgrade their wardrobe, and then within 60 days, their expenses no longer match their income, and they're right back to where they started, or even worse. And that's the thermostat kicking in. Okay, it's the thermostat again. Wealthy people do the opposite. When they start making more money, they buy time. They invest in better funnel software, a VA, a team, better AI. They invest in AI to do the repetitive work for them, to buy back hours so they can spend more time in their zone of genius, which we will talk about tomorrow, what a zone of genius is. Okay, so turn to the page, which is this one here, my compounding commitments. And I want you to answer, there's two questions there, two questions. Question one is, what is the one consistent action that if you did it every single day for the next 90 days without stopping would transform my business? Okay, so be precise, not create content, be precise. Something like, I'll publish 2 pieces of content or 1 piece of content, or I'll publish 1 piece of educational content on Instagram every weekday at 9 o'clock. Okay, so be very precise what that is. I'll send 10 DMs in the morning, start 10 conversations, whatever it is, but be very precise. Put a time on there. Okay, and then the second question is, when I hit my next income milestone, what will I invest in to buy back time instead of spending on lifestyle upgrades? Again, be exact. Is it a coach? Is it piece of software, a VA? You gotta invest it in ads. What would it be? Take some time. Have a think. Any questions on that, guys? Okay, so hopefully you're following on. This is on page 7. Cool. Thanks, Nicole. Appreciate you. Really good to see you. Awesome. I will press on a bit, guys. Always come back to this after the call. Don't worry. You have it forever. Okay. you can carry on, just half listen. Otherwise, I don't want to keep you here for a long time. We need to address something directly. I know what many of you might be feeling right now when you hear me talk about compounding and patience and a 90-day commitment. A part of you will be thinking, I do not have 90 days. I need money now. I do not have 90 days. My rent is due now. Do not have 90 days. My credit card is maxed out. Patience is a luxury I cannot afford. And I 100% hear you. And I want to honor that reality while also telling you the truth. The urgency you feel, of course, is real. The financial pressure you might be under is also real. But here's what you really need to understand. The urgency is not the problem. It's your reaction to the urgency that is the problem. Okay? So let me say it again. The urgency is not the problem. Your reaction to the urgency is the problem. So when you're in a state of financial urgency, your brain will shift into survival mode. And survival mode will always make you do exactly the wrong things. Always. It will make you chase every single shiny object in the world, every new platform, every new funnel, every hack, every get-rich scheme, because each one promises a fast, super result. And it makes you jump from strategy to strategy, tactic to tactic, idea to idea, this business to this business, every 2 weeks. And the trap is you're never giving anything enough time to compound. Yeah, scattered all over the place. Yeah, there's a few names for it, for sure. But when we do this, we're not giving anything a good chance to compound. And this it's really this. It's called the difference between being rational and being reasonable. Okay, because the rational thing to do when you need money is to take consistent action on a proven strategy over time. The reasonable thing, the thing that feels right in the moment, is to panic, try something new every second, and until we can get out of pain super quick. And reasonable feels better in the short term, but rational produces results in the long term. So here's like the paradox. Even if it's uncomfortable, please hear me out. The fastest path to money is the patient path. Why? Patience allows compounding to work. And compounding is the fastest wealth creation engine that ever exists. So an entrepreneur who picks one strategy and executes it with discipline over 90 days, 100 days, 6 months will always outperform someone who tries 5 strategies, 8 days at a time. So consistency beats intensity, being intense every single time. We don't often need a better strategy. We just need a longer attention span. And I know that the world we live in, the online space, the online business world, it's designed, literally designed, to make patience feel impossible. And the feed is full of people, I made $50,000 this week, screenshot. Your inbox is full of the secret that changed everything for me overnight. instant success, get all those emails. So social media rewards drama. But here's what those screenshots do not show you. They do not show you. There is no such thing as overnight success. They do not show you the 18 months of invisible work that preceded the $50,000 week. The hundreds of sales calls that ended in a no before all of a sudden someone said yes. Oh, how did that happen? It's because they got the reps in, they learned. The poster got no likes, and then all of a sudden, months later, I say all of a sudden, it's not, it's behind the scene, one went viral. I remember my first YouTube channel, I posted I think it was 150 videos over an hour, nothing. And then all of a sudden, one got 1 million views, literally 1 million views. Bonkers. And it's not fluke, behind the scenes. So I understand it's frustrating. Okay. I know you don't have decades. Okay. You don't need decades. I've seen it hundreds of times. When you do sprints of discipline, consistent work, the results will shock you. And it's not because there's a secret strategy. There's no magic there. The magic is this, it's the consistency. Okay, makes sense? So I want you to understand that in the next thing we're gonna kind of look at now is that you do not attract what you want, you attract what you are. So you do not attract what you want, you attract what you are. So we've covered some good ground today. I hope we've covered some good stuff. The creative mind, burning desire, turning pro, compounding with patience. And to tie it all together, it's this, the whole thing is this idea of identity. Identity. You do not attract what you want, you attract what you are. Let me explain what that means in practical terms. So your current income is a reflection of your current identity. So the person you believe yourself to be at the deepest, most subconscious level is the person whose income you are currently earning. If you believe you are a struggling entrepreneur, your actions will be of a struggling entrepreneur. Your decisions will be of a struggling entrepreneur. Your energy will be a struggling entrepreneur. And you will produce an income of a struggling entrepreneur. If you believe that you are a six-figure business owner, 7, your actions, decisions, energy, and presence will produce the income of a 6-figure business earner, 7-figure business earner. But this is not positive thinking. This is behavioral science. Like I said, it's the behavior between knowing and doing. Your identity acts as a filter that determines which opportunities you notice, what risk you take or don't take, what conversations you start, you don't start, what prices you charge, you do charge or you don't charge. Let me give you a real concrete example. 2 coaches, let's call them Coach A, Coach B. And they're exactly the same networking event. And a potential client mentions that they are struggling with their business. Coach A, who identifies as a new coach who's still figuring stuff out, thinks, I probably shouldn't approach them. They probably want someone with more experience. Who am I to offer help? So Coach A does nothing. Coach A does nothing. Coach B, who identifies as, let's say, this transformational business strategist who knows their stuff and thinks that person, yeah, needs exactly what I do. Man, I'm going to go and introduce myself. Coach B walks over, has a conversation, and leaves with a booked discovery call. Same event, same potential client, completely different outcomes. Now, the difference has nothing to do with skill. It's got nothing to do with experience. It's to do with identity. Coach B did not have more certificates. Coach B had a different story about who they are. So write this down if you would. You do not rise to the level of your goals. You fall to the level of your identity. So you do not rise to the level of your goals, you fall to the level of your identity. So the idea is change the identity and the goals will take care of themselves. So the question then comes, well, how do you change your identity? And you can do that through something which I call the identity action loop. So most people think identity change works like this. First, I change who I am, then I change what I do. People think this. I change who I am, then I change what I do. This feels very, very logical, but it's super backward. Identity change actually works like this. First, I change what I do, then I change who I am. So this is how it works. First, I change what I do, then I change who I am. So every time you take an action that is consistent with the person you want to become, even before you feel like that person, you're casting a vote towards this new identity. This is you turning pro. This is what people talk about, raising your frequency. This is developing faith through repeated action. Napoleon Hill talks about this a lot. So if you want to be a six-figure business owner, start making decisions the way a six-figure business owner would, or seven-figure. So a six-figure business owner does not spend 3 hours, I promise you, working on a Canva graphic. What they do is they go out and they do those actions. They book calls, they have meetings. They're not afraid to ask for the price for what they're worth. They post content whenever they don't feel like it, or the content is not perfect. So I will take some clips from this. I'll put them on Facebook and Instagram and YouTube. The lighting will be terrible. It's night. I know it will. I'll be this fuzzy thing. Doesn't matter. You just post. The perfectionist will just sit there and wouldn't post it. Making direct offers every single day. And you worry about the admin later. Admin does not pay you. But every time you do something, you're casting a vote. And you know if you cast enough votes, you're going to win the election. That identity will become your new default. And once identity shifts, income will follow automatically because your behavior has already changed. This is like the ultimate cheat code. Okay, the creative mind gives you the world view. Wealth is not created. Sorry, wealth is created, not competed for. The burning desire gives you the fuel, as Napoleon Hill describes it, and it's a non-negotiable commitment to a very precise outcome. Turning pro gives you the daily discipline, the activities, regardless of feelings. Compounding gives you a timeline. Trust the process and let the curve bend. Let the hockey stick do what it always does. And the identity will give you the vehicle. Become the person who earns the money before the money arrives. So in the workbook again, you'll see something on the next page, page 8. And this is my wealth identity. I want you to complete 3 sentences. Sentence number 1, the old version of me believes, and fill in the money story you took yesterday. Remember the deep, painful money story? Sentence 2, the new version of me believes. Okay, so fill in with the creative mind principle that replaces it. And then sentence 3, tomorrow morning, the first action I will take as this new version of me is, and write down a very precise revenue generating activity. Okay, I'll give you a couple of minutes to do that. Thanks, Nicole. It's very kind of you to say. Thank you. Yeah. Spend a couple of minutes working on that. I'm just going to go grab another water. My throat is so dry. I'll be back in 2-3 minutes. Okay, give me two ticks. Oh, sorry about that, guys. Just had to grab some more water. I ran into my wife's masterclass. She's delivering something at the moment as well. Cool. Awesome. Right. Okay, so now you have the operating system. Tomorrow, you're going to learn how to run it on full power. So let's just recap what you've hopefully accomplished today. You've excavated yesterday we excavated the old operating system. Today you've installed a new one. So let me just walk you through it because it's very important. I want it to be super crystal clear for you. So first, you learned the distinction between the competitive mind and the creative mind. The competitive mind operates from this place of fear, scarcity, comparison. The creative mind operates from abundance, creation, and certainty. And wealth flows to the creative mind and it flees, literally repelled, runs away from the competitive mind. Every interaction in your business, every piece of content, every DM, every sales call is an opportunity to choose which mind you operate from. It's your choice. You decide which one. The second you activated your burning desire, you learn that there is a universe of difference between wanting something and deciding you will have it. And you defined your, redefined even your wealth declaration into this burning desire statement with a plan, and you've committed to reading it twice daily. Of course, I know you're going to be working on that afterwards. And third, you drew a line between the amateur and the professional. The amateur lets feelings dictate behavior. The professional lets commitments dictate behavior. And you built your professional schedule and committed to doing those revenue activities, okay, for the first 90 minutes of your work day without negotiation. Fourth thing, you understood the incredible power of compounding. Most people don't understand that in a business concept, in a business arena, as it were. And you learn that results of consistent effort are always back-end loaded. Yeah. Invisible at the beginning, overwhelming at the end in a good way. And most people quit before the curve gets a chance to bend. And you've committed to taking compounding action. You've also learned the ultimate truth. You did not raise to the level of your goals. You fall to the level of your identity. So you've learned that identity is not changed by thinking differently, but by acting differently. So every time you do this revenue action in the, from your revenue generating column is a vote towards a wealthy version of you. So here's the assignment for tomorrow, for day 3. If you could do this, this will be incredible for you. Assignment number 1 is read your burning desire statement out loud before bed and first thing tomorrow morning. Okay, and really feel it. Don't just say the words for saying the words. Really feel it. Really feel it. Okay, and see the result as if it's already happened. Feel it. That's the first thing. The second thing is tomorrow morning, execute the first 90 minutes of your schedule. So do those revenue generating activities only. So no scrolling on Instagram or whatever it may be, TikTok, whatever it may be. Don't look at crazy people dancing on the internet. Okay, do that first. So even before we meet again tomorrow, I want you to go and take that professional action. And assignment 3 is do your gratitude work, which we spoke about yesterday. So tonight, 3 items, things, examples, events, whatever it is, of financial gratitude. Write them on paper, no matter how small it is. And I said 4 things. So in the reflection section of this worksheet, answer the question. You'll see there's a reflection section in there. What is the single biggest insight from day 2 that I know will change my financial future if I act on it? Okay, so you'll see there's a little reflection thing here. So what is the single biggest insight from day 2 that I know will change my financial future if I act on it? Okay, and then the next question is, what is the first action I will take based on this insight? Okay, tomorrow, day 3, we'll bring everything together. Day 1 is the digging. Day 2 was the installation, but day 3 is going to be about the embodiment. And we're going to talk about your zone of genius, the space where your greatest talent meets your greatest passion and produces your greatest income. We're going to talk about, pricing your offers based on value of the value you deliver, not the number of hours you work. We're going to talk about building the systems that make your wealth automatic. And we're going to close with the most important commitment you will ever make, the commitment that there is no going back. So really proud of you for doing the work. I know I talked for a very long time, but I enjoy this stuff. I'm very passionate. So I'm proud of you for making it through with me. This is some of the most important work you will ever do in your business because you're working on yourself. And every time you work on yourself, you can't go wrong. Nicole, just bear with us 2 ticks. We're going to close the general live call, and then we'll just hang out as we're on the VIP call. People who are watching the general call, I really appreciate you coming. Like I said, taking the time. I will get to all the comments. I will answer all of your questions. I really appreciate you. Day 3, we start again tomorrow, same time, same place, at 5 o'clock UK time. I will again drop the workbook. I'll post it in the replay. Just to remind you, next week, Friday, we will have another event, which is all to do with rejection in selling. It's one of the biggest things that hold people back in business, sales, and ultimately success in business and in life. I appreciate you all. That's been day 2, and I look forward to seeing you all tomorrow.